Okay. You want to see me, miss?
Are you the warden?
Yes, I am. No, don't get up. Oh. Just sit where you are, please.
Thank you.
Now then, I understand the governor sent you over. You wish to see Dyke?
Yes, sir. I hope I'm not too late.
No, you're not too late. But I want to ask you a few questions first.
Questions?
Nothing to get upset about. I just want to make it easier for you. Where do you live?
In Pennington, sir, in Ohio. It's a little town not far from Columbus.
And you live out there with your mother and father?
No, sir, just my mother and I. My father died when I was a little girl.
Any brothers or sisters?
Just one brother, sir. This one. That's why I came.
Of course. And what makes you so sure that this man Dyke is your brother?
His picture in the paper. The minute Mother saw it, she said it was Joe. That's my brother's name, Joe.
I see. Too bad you couldn't have gotten here sooner. The case has been in the papers for 6 months now.
It was only last Tuesday that Mother saw it in the Journal. That's our home paper. And, well, she just wanted me to come east and find out for sure.
Why didn't your mother come here herself?
Well, she's very sick. She's been sick almost ever since Joe ran away.
How long ago was that?
8 years.
You must have been very young.
Oh, I was almost 10.
Still, you haven't seen him in 8 years. Now, what makes you think you would recognize your brother now?
Well, of course, I think
But how could you be sure? Suppose he doesn't want to be recognized.
Oh, I've thought of all that. I'll just ask him questions about the things we used to do together. And I'll watch his face. If he is my brother, I'm sure I can tell.
I wouldn't bank on that.
Well, you see, we used to play games together. Oh, he used to read so much. He was always reading stories all the time. And then he'd tell the stories to me. That's what I'm counting on most, the stories, especially the Shakespeare.
Shakespeare?
Yes, and one in particular. Every night he'd sit beside my bed, and when I got sleepy, there were 2 speeches from Romeo and Juliet. You know, Shakespeare's play. And we'd always say them to each other for good night. I'd say, good night, parting is such sweet sorrow that I shall always say good night till it be morrow. And then Joe would always answer, sleep dwell upon thine eyes, peace in thy breast. Would I were sleep and peace, so sweet to rest. Oh, he couldn't forget that. I'll say my lines to him and... Oh, why are you shaking your head like that?
This boy isn't your brother.
You think he isn't?
I know he isn't. This boy never heard of Shakespeare, much less learn him. But still, since you've come all this way...
Then you will let me see him anyway. I can talk to him.
The question is, will he talk to you? I think you might at least give her a break, Dyke. She's come 1,000 miles to see you.
That's a good one, Warden. Father, don't you think that's funny? A year ago, nobody crossed the street to look at me, and now they come 1,000 miles.
You must be very certain that she's your sister.
Well, she's wrong. I haven't any sister.
Shall I tell her that, or do you want to tell her yourself?
You can tell her.
Too bad. I thought when she went back to Pennington, she'd...
Where?
Pennington, Ohio. You ever been there?
Never heard of it. Still, if she's come all the way from Ohio...
My boy, this is one of your debts to humanity. It wouldn't take you 2 minutes to see her.
Where would I talk to her? Here?
Of course.
Alone?
Well,
No, don't be afraid. I wouldn't cheat the sovereign state of Connecticut for anything in the world.
You know, Dyke, there's something about you that wins everybody.
Yeah, especially that jury that put me in here. All right, go ahead, Warden. Bring her in.
Outside, the same dreary, dismal rain. In the prison office, the same gloomy light. And now the door opens, and Dyke and the chaplain turn together as the warden enters with the girl.
In here, miss. This is my office.
Thank you.
Dyke, this is the young lady that's come all the way from Ohio to see you.
Yes, sir?
I've decided you can talk with her in here. Alone.
Thanks. It won't take long.
Father Daly and I'll wait outside the door. You'll be on your honor.
That's a hot one, my honor.
How's that?
Nothing. Forget it.
All right, miss. You'll remember what I said about the time.
Yes, sir, I know. 5
I'm
minutes.
afraid that's just about all that's left. Now, come along, Father.
Yes, I'm coming. Good luck, miss.
Mother sent me to see you.
Did she?
Yes, you see, we haven't heard from Joe, that's my brother, in ever so long, and Mother thought that...
That I might be your brother Joe?
Yes, that's it.
Well, you can easily see that I'm not, can't you?
Well, I'm not sure. You look a little like him, and so did the picture in the paper. But then again, it's been so long.
As a matter of fact, I couldn't be your brother or anybody's brother because I never had a sister.
Honestly?
Honestly.
What's your real name?
Dyke. James Dyke.
That's sure enough your name?
Sure enough. You don't think I'd lie at this stage of the game?
Oh, no, I don't guess you would. Where do you come from? I mean, where were you born?
Canada. But I've lived about everywhere.
Did you ever live in Ohio?
No, never.
What kind of work did you do? What was your business?
Oh, sort of a jack of all trades. I've been nearly everything, I guess. Except a success.
Do you like books?
Books?
Yes, books to read.
Well, I don't read when there's anything better to do. I've read a lot here.
Oh, I hope you don't mind me asking so many questions.
No, go ahead if it'll relieve your mind any.
Well, did you ever want to be an actor, or were you ever?
No, never.
Well, do you know any poetry?
Not to speak of.
Thou knowest the mask of night is on my face. Else would a maiden blush bepaint my cheek for that which... Oh, don't you know what that is?
No. To tell the truth, it sounds sort of silly to me, doesn't it to you?
Good night. Good night. Parting is such sweet sorrow that I shall say good night till it be morrow.
Huh?
What comes next?
Good Lord, I don't know.
No, you're not, Joe, are you? Well, I just had to come and find out. Mother had to know.
I'm surprised she sent a girl like you on a sorry errand like this instead of...
Mother's very sick.
Oh. Oh, that's too bad.
Most of it's from worrying about Joe.
Still, she'll be glad to know he's not a murderer, won't she?
Yes, I think so. Only...
Only what?
I don't think she'll ever really be well again till she finds out for certain where Joe is and what's become of him.
Mothers shouldn't be treated like that. I wish I'd treated mine better. By the way, you didn't tell me what your name was.
Josephine Paris.
Paris?
Mm-hmm.
Huh. It's an unusual name. I've heard it somewhere before.
Just like the name of the city in France.
And your brother's name was Joseph, huh?
Mm-hmm. They used to call us Joe and Josie. It's funny, isn't it?
No, I don't think it's so very funny. I sort of like it if I could only...
What's the matter? You're frowning so.
I'm trying to remember. Now, what on earth was that boy's name? Wait a minute, don't tell me. Wait a minute, I've got it. Joseph Anthony Paris.
Why, that's his name. That's Joe. How did you ever...
Now, listen carefully. Don't interrupt, because we've only got a minute, and I want you to get all this straight so you can tell your mother.
Yes?
It was in France, you see, the early part of the war. I was there with the Canadians. It was that morning we staged the raid on Dieppe. We were on our way back to the beach, and this officer was wounded. The Jerrys were putting down some heavy stuff, and this lieutenant was lying there right in the middle of it. Well, all of a sudden, a young fellow broke out of the trees where we were getting some cover and went out in the open after that officer. The chances were about 1,000,000 to 1 against him. And he must have known it. Still, he reached the lieutenant, picked him up, and started back. But they'd only gone a few yards when an 88 landed right on the top of the two of them. Afterward, we got what was left. The identification tag was still there, and that was the name, Joseph Anthony Paris.
Oh.
Yeah, you can tell your mother he died like a brave man and a soldier in France.
Joe. My brother Joe is dead.
He died a hero. One of those wonderful, brave things that went almost unnoticed. If an officer'd seen it, It'd have been a decoration for your mother to keep and remember him by.
And you were there and saw it.
I was there, and I saw it.